Thank you for coming back. I really do appreciate it. Last week, you shared with us a lot of valuable information. What do you have in store for us today?
Hey Ariel, so thank you for having me back. I'm really happy to be here. And today we're going to actually be talking about more practical tools on how to get started, right, in the Aliyah process. So where to start from. Well, the most important thing that one has to think about when you ask yourself that question is that you're not only starting a new life, but you're actually leaving behind your whole life, right? And you're transferring into a new country. So you're getting away from your native language and you're getting away from your knowledge on how to deal with or lead your daily life and your acquaintance with your systems and all these different things, right? So this is not to disencourage anybody, right? Because life changes are amazing, but you need to be prepared and know what to expect when you come to Israel and think about it ahead of time, right?
Right, absolutely.
Okay, so when we get to Israel, we can find that no matter where we come from, anywhere in the world, there is what you can call over here your comfortable bubble, right? You can find communities from everywhere in the world. You're going to find people speaking your language, even doctors speaking your own native language, right? You have virtually in every one of the different healthcare houses, sorry, you've got people, doctors talking in English or Spanish or French or Russian. It depends on the city that you're living, and so on and so forth. So I mean, you can stick to that kind of bubble. Even schools can be internationals or Israelis. You can stick to that bubble, or you can decide that you want to actually burst it and get into the Israeli society. Both are good. Most of the olim actually would do, would stick to their bubble for the couple first years, and then afterwards, only then, when they get acquainted with the Israeli system or the Israeli language and so on, a little bit more going into out there into the Israeli society. So there are a few different things that I already mentioned last time, but I would like to go over them a little bit more in depth, right? The first thing that I do recommend before making Aliyah is learning the language before you come to Israel. I mean, here in Israel, you are going to make Ulpan, you are going to get the benefits as an Ole, and you're going to be able to, have a subsidized Hebrew course and all these different things. But at least, it is recommendable to get the basis, get acquainted with the sounds, with the letters before coming to Israel. All right. So that is one of the things. And actually, this is possible to be done, through online ulpanim, which is something that exists. And actually, for our clients, Aliyap's clients, we're working with one of the online ulpanim. We've got discounts and everything. So if anybody is interested, please let me know. And then you can have also private lessons or, self-learning with online videos or books. All right.
Right.
How does that sound to you? Would you start learning Hebrew in the States before coming?
I think I should. Absolutely. I think I
Right?
should. I mean, like from what it sounds like, there are really two ways you can go about it. One way is you can just basically move to like a little mini America in Israel, like in Beit Shemesh,
Exactly.
or or if you really want to get integrated into the society, you should, really do what's necessary to get involved in that society. I mean, which makes sense because you're living in a country that speaks Hebrew. If you don't speak Hebrew, you're basically gonna have a tough time, finding the bathroom.
I mean, we're trying to make it a cushion, right, for people not to not know what's going on and get that shock at the beginning once they get here, because you're super excited to get here and all of a sudden you remember, okay, yeah, I don't know how to ask how to get to the bathroom. I have a problem, right? So we're trying to avoid that. The second thing that I wanted to recommend is learning about the Israeli system ahead of time. So we don't really research. Normally, we don't research about the Israeli system so much, because we know that once we get here, well, we're going to be, turned towards the different authorities or the different ministries that we need, and how the government works and all these different things. But I do think that's an important thing, and that's why actually we are planning on a few different videos on the real estate system, the educational system over here, the health structures, taxes, military service, and all these different things that you have to get to know.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
definitely excited for this future videos, by the way.
right. They're very practical, these are a lot of information, but very practical, something that you are going to be using. And so the last thing that is really, really important for me is to imagine your desired life in Israel, right? So you have your own life back in your country, and now you are moving into a different setting. You can decide to change a little bit around. You can decide to live a more religious life, for example, because you're not abroad anymore and you're in Israel. Everything is kosher, Shabbat is easier, Chagim, Shul is more accessible, and all these different things. So you have to be able to ask yourself the right questions. And so for that, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about the kind of questions that I would like people to ask themselves before they come to Israel. What I want everybody to be doing is finding the answer to their what questions, while they leave to us the how, right, or the answer to the how questions. Meaning, once you know what exactly is it that you want, just leave to Aliyah the other part of it, which is finding the different options that you're going to have, or the different paths that you're going to have to get to what you wanted. Okay, afterwards, when we do a counseling session and everything, you're going to be choosing the path that is best for you, and then you're going to be having a final product, which is your roadmap on how to get to Israel, and plug in the life that you wanted to.
Wow.
So let me get started on the kind of questions, just to give a little bit of taste to everybody on what is the direction that they need to be focusing on, right? So first question is whether integration is something that is important to you or not. Are you willing to do everything that it takes? So for example, learning the language before, learning about the system, and so on and so forth. Are you going to be living in an Israeli community, or do you want an Olim community? And as we said, sometimes it's easier and it's smoother to land in an Olim community, right? And we have a few different cities that are made for that sort of, because you're going to see a lot of people that come from abroad. You're going to see businesses that are run by Olim, and all these different things that can help you a little bit start off your life in Israel. So those are important questions, first of all. Then you're going to think about your job. What kind of job are you looking for? Are you looking for any job, or actually are you going to continue working on your own company internationally, right, and run your own company from Israel? That's also going to condition a lot of your life over here, right? And if you're actually going to work in Israel, do you feel comfortable with commuting to work? Is that going to determine where do you want to live in Israel, or not, depending on the closeness to your workplace? Other questions that you can ask yourself is, are you aiming for a religious environment? Are you more secular? Are you traditionalist? I mean, you can find all of the different niches over here in Israel. And the question is, which one do you want to belong to the most? Then we're talking about, for example, needs for special medical assistance. So each one of the different options in the medical system is going to be more or less suitable for you. And I have to say that each city has got more dominant, let's say, language doctors than other houses. So depending on that, if you're looking for Spanish-speaking doctors, then you're going to go more towards specific cities than others, for example. Are you going to keep any property abroad that needs to be managed? That's also important. Or are you going to keep your foreign bank account, for example, open, which is going to have repercussions on your status over here, on your taxes situation, and so on and so forth. So, for example, are you going to purchase over here a car, or are you going to bring yours? Bringing yours is a whole different process, right, than purchasing over here, especially in Israel, which it's not really promoted, and not really an easy process, because the government gets a lot of taxes out of that. And even if you're in LA, you're still paying taxes reduced, but it's also something to take into account, for example. Um, what else? You can ask yourself about the monthly budget that you can afford to live on over here in Israel. I mean, you have to translate. The prices are not the same over here in Israel, and then you have to know exactly how to balance that out in order to compare it as much as possible to your regular living standards, for example. And for that, by the way, the monthly budget, this is something that we can work on, because we have to talk. It's very individual, and there are a lot of different options, and it's a question of, finding yourself in the right place, in the right levels. What are you going to ship, for example, from the States, and what means are you going to be using for shipping? And finally, for example, if you've got pets, right, bringing pets to Israel is something that is very popular, so that's also a whole bureaucratic process that you need to go through, and all these different things. So
Wow.
these are just a hint of the different options and questions that you have to ask yourself. They're very general, but then when we talk about them and we go into details, you're going to see that you're going to have the bigger picture and everything sorted out.
Right. And you threw out a lot of questions out there for us to think about. However, this isn't, this isn't just the questions we're asking. I mean, there are a lot more questions, meaning like I'm already thinking of like 10 other questions. Like
Please.
this is just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
I'm just, so the point is like the whole idea of what you do is to really sit down with them and cover all bases, and you make sure that you not just have a roadmap for them, you have a customized roadmap for your clients,
Yes,
because each
absolutely.
individual is different.
Yeah, each family has got their own personal needs and their own vision and everything. And the point is to make that vision as realistic as possible, right? Also, people coming from abroad do not know exactly what's possible in Israel and what not, what exists and what doesn't so much, right? And what are the different ways of going about it. So it's
Right.
important. That's only a way of stimulating you, all of the audience, to think about all the different things that you can imagine composing your life over here in Israel, and asking them, and making or being sure that you make clear what is it that you're going to do about all those aspects.
Well, thank you very much, Don. I really do appreciate this video. Can you tell us about what we will be doing in the future video?
Yeah, sure. Our next video is actually one that people like very much, because it talks tachlis. Tachlis in Hebrew is like right to the point. So we're gonna deal with the kind of documentation that you need for aliyah. So that's one of your first steps, right? Gathering all of the documents that you're asked for by either Nefesh B'Nefesh, or the Jewish Agency, or the Ministry of Interior.
Right.
So
Definitely getting down to the bottom line. You know,
yes,
I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Don. I appreciate it.
good. Thank you.